Hey,
Welcome
hey.
back. Welcome back to our thing. So, today we're deep diving stuff, and I'm joined very happily by Rob and John this time. So, how are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
Splendid. Splendid as always.
Oh, that's nice.
How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm good too. I've been
Yay.
doing research, and we just sat down and discussed it as well. So, whoops, let me go back to our thing here. There we go. I forgot to share our screens before we started. Let's see who's around here too. I'm not sure who else has popped in yet, but either way, so we're looking into Blur today, guys, and we've been kind of researching everything from how to use the platform, all the way to what is the tokenomics like, what's the inflation like, all these things, to try to kind of dig out whether or not it's worth not only using the platform, but also if it's worth to consider as an investment. And I think I'm pretty happy with what we found, right?
Yeah, so far.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough.
let me just very quickly. We almost missed the deadline because we forgot. So let's see. And hi Jay, we see you. How are you doing? Hope all is
Yo.
well. Okay, let's see. So again, we're looking into Blur. So let's start with me. I need to move over some stuff here. We've created a scoreboard for all this too. And I'm going to have to create a new window for myself here. Hold on, fellas. Stay with me. There we go. And we're going to have to zoom in on this. Okay. Now, this side. And so, good. Yes. So, first of all, we dug into kind of what chain it's built on. Obviously, Blur is built on Ethereum, and for us, considering what it is, it's a good thing. Blur is an NFT trading platform or an NFT aggregator. So building something like this on Ethereum is obviously a smart idea for many reasons. One of which is Ethereum is where most big players are messing about. It's also where most huge projects are kind of releasing their stuff, right? And John, you're the NFT expert for this one. I don't touch NFTs myself. I do have two though, but we're not going to talk about those today. So John, looking at kind of the platform itself, what is your kind of understanding of the platform as a user?
So, as an NFT user, trader, collector, however you want to see it, the actual Blur platform itself does seem to have some very good qualities. In the sense of how it's designed is honestly very eye-catching. You're able to kind of go there and the first opening page, the homepage itself, is very well designed. Gives you a lot of information up front about other projects that are being listed on there. Kind of everything that you're really looking and hoping for in regards to NFTs. Picture of the main collections that are being presented. You can see which ones have partnered with Blur based on kind of like an opening slide. And as far as like in comparison to maybe like Magic Eden or OpenSea, I'd say it's fairly competitive in regards to how it is designed and how it looks right now.
Right. Okay. So that's a good thing then, right?
Yeah.
Because I'll also do this. We're going to be scoring this kind of as a not only as in, like I said before, as an investment, but also as a platform to just use, right? And the scorings we're gonna do on the points we're going to put out is going to be, first of all, the products that it's offering, which is kind of what John just talked about. The kind of backers they have, market rank, their trading volume, all these type of things, circulating supply, and kind of how that impacts, the token itself as an investment, inflation of the token, the use case of the token, where you can find it if you want to trade it, the team, how they're growing and how the adoption is of the platform itself, and all these things. And I wish I would have prepared my windows better before we started, because it's very scrambled for me right now.
I literally thought, as we were talking beforehand, I was like, I hope he knows where he's looking for some of this.
Yeah, that's the
Clearly
thing.
not.
I had prepared, and I'll be honest with this. I had prepared the scoreboard and some of the notes in one Chromium window. And then I have this thing that we're doing here in one other one, or in the same one, but I can't look at both. So I have to move them over to another screen. And then all the detailed information is on my Brave browser with all the tabs that we're going to go over. So I kind of just lost track of where's what. So apologies. I am old. I look young, but I am old. But okay, so in terms of, we're not going to put any score on these right now. We're just going to kind of discuss the points of all these things. So with the whole products thing, I mean, we put down that it's useful, it's well designed, and it's not a bad platform to use as a NFT trader, right? I'm completely trusting you on this one, John.
I mean, it also is saying, or it's boasting, that it's 10 times faster in regards to how the platform interacts than OpenSea. OpenSea acquired an aggregator, basically someone that compiles all the information as fast as possible, and regarding all the NFT collections that are there, called Gem. And Gem is what they're comparing against when they're talking about Blur being faster. And so in this instance, they're saying it's 10 times faster, saying that it's like 0.4 seconds for how basically the recall information is supposed to work. And then for actually updating the listings, it's a difference of like 4 seconds for Blur, and I think it was like 51 seconds for what OpenSea is doing using the Gem aggregator. So in that instance, again, for people that are doing trades all day long, or basically trying to like day trade NFTs, as far as I'm concerned, that would make Blur the best choice, because you're trying to get the best deal as soon as possible every time. And there is a limited amount of NFTs, therefore market manipulation is a little bit, I'd say, easier in this circumstance. But
I'd use the word rife.
More risk.
I'm not sure I've gone with easy. I'd have gone with rife in terms of market
manipulation.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Well, so those numbers. Sorry, go on, Rob.
So I know, for example, one of the features that they do have is the ability to be able to look at the floor price of a collection based on rarity on feature rarities. So you can really start to look at, instead of having to look at a blanket collection, look at the traits of the individual NFTs and therefore assess the rarity, and then say, oh, that one's a bit cheap, that one's a bit expensive. You can get an actual view of that level of complexity. So that's not really a layman's feature. These are fairly advanced features, but
they are fairly advanced features, but it also relies on a project to actually understand how their rarity scaler is going to work. Because in some instances, and I could definitely name some examples, but some projects basically don't understand how an NFT generator works. And so whenever they're doing their collections, at the end of the day, instead of generating this perfect, amazing collection with all the rarities exactly how it's supposed to be, they end up having some really odd things that end up working out. Like maybe something that's supposed to be the lamest of the lame is now a 1 of 1, because no one else got any of the lamest supposed traits. And now you have this quote unquote top ranked NFT that actually has nothing special about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so okay. So then the the numbers that they claim, they are, as far as we can tell, we can't verify those, right?
It's hard to verify not only their speeds because they haven't released any information
Yeah,
stating
exactly.
how it's faster or what they're doing to procedurally
Yeah.
be faster. And then at the same time, rarity scalars are confusing in and of themselves. But now going to a website where they're supposed to be telling you what the rarity is, and yet even when I connected my wallet, some of mine all have the same rarity, and I'm just like,
Okay,
how
so it's
does
not
that
very
work?
accurate then. So, okay, so it's not very accurate then.
It
Well,
depends
within
on
a
so many
limited
other
sample
variables.
size. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, okay. So, well, it's kind of sucks that we can't actually verify that the speeds are more than they are. So at the moment,
True.
it's just claims.
I mean,
Take it as you will,
this
I
is
guess.
it, as well in terms of making that claim. Considering that this is all using on-chain data, it would actually be possible, surely, in some way, to actually verify that this transaction was sent and delivered faster through this product than this product. Like, show us the transactions, surely, like
Yeah.
that information should be on that chain.
That's
Yeah, I
fair.
mean,
I mean, everything is on
I
Ethereum,
suppose
so it should be a verifiable fact in some way.
precisely.
Definitely gonna have to do more digging there.
Yeah,
I
that they
think
can
I think
provably and routinely show. Look, this is what this does. This is what this does. This is what this does. This is what we do. This is what this. Like, should be easy.
Yeah. I mean, at least they can make it more. I mean, even if someone like us, we can dig into it properly and really have a look and see, we could do that. But wouldn't it be better if they're proud of it for them to just kind of here is a way for you to look at this in real time, or using some kind of on-chain thing that they build. If they have such a great team as they're saying, then they should be able to provide that. Maybe it's just not come up in discussion with them, and I can understand that too. Like, you can't think of everything, so
Yeah.
I'll at least give them a benefit of the doubt there.
It does sort of, it does show how there is still so much room for, even though how far we've come in recent years in terms of on-chain metrics and on what Record is actually seeing and being able to pick apart the blockchain. It's still so far in its infancy that there isn't this kind of thing isn't commonplace. That you make a claim that you're 10 times faster. Why verify it? If you don't verify it, I don't care what you've got to say. To be honest, it's not it's just an it's an unverified claim until you can verify it, and the ability does exist on chain to do so. So it'd be nice to
actually
start to see that kind of thing. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to actually use this technology to prove that what we say is accurate and true.
So if we're looking just at what the platform is alone, how would you guys score it as it stands? Just like if just looking at the platform, don't look at the token, don't look about anything else in that regard, just at what the platform is when you click on it. What would you think?
That's exactly how we're going to score everything here, by the way, everyone. We're going to score it on just some of these things are going to be just like the products. It's like, okay, the product is the product. The Blur token is not the product. Yes? Okay. So for me, my score, I think the score that we agreed on together for the scoreboard, we'll get to the point score in the end of the video. In the end of this, we go over the whole thing again. But for the products, we labeled it as decent, and we labeled it, or we give it the 6 out of 10 score for this one. And the decent point is 5 and 6. Good is 7, 8. And great is 9, 10. And then it goes downhill from there, obviously. But yeah, it's a decent product. It looks to be something, and I've not really heard anything bad from anyone talking about it. So that's a good sign too, I mean,
I have heard some rumors in regards to what it is, and it is one of the risk case that I do want to talk about as well. In regards
to the product,
in regards to what the platform is providing, because
right.
It is a trading platform overall.
Right. Yes.
But that means some of these collections can and very well are being market manipulated.
Right.
And that allows for people to earn more points, but also new entrants people getting into Blur right now, they could be very well high risk at just becoming a whale's liquidity to get
Right.
out of a project.
Yeah, and I suppose that's not. I mean, I guess that's applicable to like any like OpenSea as well, I suppose.
It's
But
it's
when
different.
something
It's
is new
different
like
in
this,
this
when you have a
case
rewards
strictly because of the
score,
Blur token.
yeah, precisely. And no, I was getting to that too, because if you have a reward system where it's like you're incentivized to trade in order to get the token, and we're going to talk a lot more about the token, trust me, everybody. And if you're incentivized to go there and trade and everything, then yes, you're right. You can definitely become a whale's liquidity pretty easily. And maybe that is not necessarily horribly bad if you know what you're doing, but it is a risk for sure. So, okay, let's carry on for the next piece here. We did just briefly touch on it being built on Ethereum, which we scored that 10 out of 10 because Ethereum is basically the place to be for NFTs.
Yeah.
I think the discussion was, would this be better built on Ethereum, Solana, or Polygon? Where would the best be? And I had a pro argument for Solana and Polygon, because the argument I had there with Rob was, or sorry, let's call it a discussion instead, was that if you have things on Ethereum, when in the future there's going to be high trading volumes popping around on Ethereum overall, the gas fees will be much higher, and a lot of the smaller investors and traders are going to kind of shy away from paying these huge fees on maybe smaller projects with your smaller NFTs, and where it's almost not worth trading it, where your trading fee is 10-15% of, or 25% of the value of your NFT. So that would probably scare away some people that are not really.
Yeah. So,
if you did it on Solana, then it would be much cheaper for smaller users overall. Same with Polygon. However, the availability comparison with projects and all these things are definitely different too. So that was my argument for maybe Solana or Polygon, but Ethereum is still a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I kind of, I think it's very much a case of what is your priority when it comes to trading an NFT. So if you have something, for example, like a gaming platform, or something where there's an awful lot of transactions happening very, very quickly, and each transaction is very low or relatively low value, or could be low value, then there's absolutely no incentive for a highly secure blockchain with a slow processing time and a high gas fee. This doesn't have any inherent value to transfer in that way. But if you're talking about really large collections, stuff like your Bored Apes, which has got a floor price still of 67 ETH, I think I saw today, is like, you don't care about a $10 gas fee. You don't care about a 30-second transaction time. You want the safest and most secure and most trustworthy platform to store your valuable thing on. And it will take anything other than Ethereum is still very much in its infancy. We can talk about Solana obviously is very fast and is starting to take a share away from Ethereum. It's still a beta product. It's still Solana is not a fully launched product yet. So how can it possibly have the same amount of trust as Ethereum? Polygon has its own issues, its own benefits, but its own issues. And so it's always got to be that trade-off of where is the best place to be. And for high value, high liquidity NFT projects, Ethereum is it's the logical choice.
For sure. I think for a project like Blur, Ethereum is probably the best pick, either way you turn it. If Blur was a project that is okay, let me use an example. Someone was building a metaverse where all your characters and items would be NFTs, then maybe Ethereum wouldn't be the best place to do that as, because there's many small trades happening with very cheap NFTs. Then Solana or Polygon would probably be a much better choice. But in this instance, I think we all agree that Ethereum is the best pick, right? So
yeah, and
therefore,
it's horses
10
for
out of
courses.
10
You
is
know,
worth.
you're going to see, and we're going to see, as say things like metaverse applications, as things people as projects, shopping retail is a perfect example of ones where they're going to start, they'll hand receipts out as NFTs. The receipts themselves have little to no sort of nominal value to anyone other than me who bought the product. So it doesn't make much sense for it to be on something like Ethereum, unless it's, say, a receipt for a Rolex, in which case I absolutely want it to be on a secure and
trusted blockchain,
more secure, trusted blockchain. Yeah, it's horses for courses, and there will be multiple marketplaces on every single chain, and
For sure.
the successful ones will carve out their own niche and thrive in a growing ecosystem that has lots of different parts. And these products will fill those voids.
Yeah, and
especially as more things are basically being turned digital as far as ownership goes.
Yeah. No, I think, and this is also, again, just I'm trying to make sure that everybody understands why we're scoring certain things in certain ways. Next time we do something, maybe it's something that's built on Polygon, and we score it completely different because we feel like it's the wrong place to build that type of project. And so just making sure everybody is on the same page as us in terms of how we got to this conclusion, right? Okay, so next piece is going to be VC backing, venture capitalist backing. So they raised $11 million from various places. The biggest one was from Paradigm, and I think I might actually share my screen.
I think they raised 14 million altogether. And
I could
was
find
the
11.
largest.
Yeah, so I'm just going to share my screen here real quick. So this is Paradigm. They have been investing in other stuff. They have Blur right here. You got Aztec, you got Coinbase, Citadel Securities. This is their portfolio, right?
And I believe they've also done Magic Eden as well, which is another platform for selling NFTs.
And OpenSea, I believe, as well.
And OpenSea as well, I believe. So here you go. Here's OpenSea. We got Optimism, which is an L2 for Ethereum, and
so
Phantom Wallet, which is a Solana project. Yeah. It's like they've done a lot of stuff. So this is actually a Uniswap. This is actually a pretty impressive venture capitalist to actually.
Do notice though that there's an awful lot of things we're not mentioning because we've never actually heard of them. So
yes,
I've
heard of them.
They may actually have invested in a lot of crap as well.
Yes, for sure. But still, they have made a name for themselves. So this is a well-known VC, right? VC firm. So, yes, I just wanted to show that just before we carry on going through this. But where did I put this thing? There it is. So
yes. Beyond Paradigm, everyone else that is a VC associated with Blur is basically a big unknown in regards to who they are.
Here,
I know that they list a few people, just their Twitter profile name, and that's, I guess, fairly common for what this is all going to end up being, because it is a Web3 project. I know, basically from the research that we've been doing, that Pac-Man Blur, who started the project Blur, he supposedly has done face-to-face phone calls with almost every single person that's been associated with the project. So at least he's doing his own due diligence there, and Paradigm's not going to blindly just throw money into something like this. I just don't see that happening. So clearly Paradigm had to have done their own research to see where this was all going to lead.
Oh yeah, but we'll dig into the team a little bit later too, to kind of give our thoughts on that. But I think what you were saying too, John, is that on their website it says that they're trusted and backed by Paradigm. Yeah, okay, and then numbers and keyboard monkey and a bunch of pseudonyms. So this doesn't really say much unless you're in the space, I suppose.
E-girl capital, come on. If that doesn't fill you with just all the confidence that the
No,
It's
but
a thing.
here's the thing. Like
Yeah.
they are trusted and backed by I believe, if I'm not mistaken, these are a bunch of very large NFT traders that have made a name for themselves as NFT traders, right?
Yes.
And
Some of them are some of them are almost pioneers within the industry in regards to how much they have traded, and in regards to what they currently hold. Because some of these people are very, very large Bored Ape Yacht Club holders as well.
yeah,
So
I think
they are multi-million-dollar whales within the NFT industry.
yeah. Okay, so okay, they were proud of them backing them, and okay, that's fair enough. But I think for someone from the outside like myself, I have no idea what this means. You know, as just
That's
a
fair.
risk-averse person, I see and
A
we're
lot
gonna
of
get into
risk.
this thing. I just see a lot of risk here. So I like to know what I'm looking at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And who I'm
But
looking
okay,
at.
yeah. So we
Generally.
did score the VC backing as decent as well, with 5 out of 10, because Paradigm is it's a big name, right? And that's I think that holds up most of what the score is. Meanwhile,
In comparison to other Web3 projects, they have a verified VC backer, which is a
right,
pretty big deal.
pretty
Not
big.
everyone can boast that.
And a significant amount of startup capital.
Yeah, precisely. So they have what they needed in the beginning, which is good. And from there, once we get into the tokenomics and everything, we're gonna understand that they have more backing of their own token, I guess, to fund the project further. But yeah, so we scored that 5 out of 10 mainly because there's one VC, which is great. It's a good one, but there's also a lot of unknown names for most people that are like unknown people. There's no face to it. There's no name.
I guess I don't, not being an expert in NFTs overall, perhaps within NFT spheres, these people are incredibly well known and incredibly well respected, and
Even
I don't know.
So even for me within the NFT sphere, I know the names.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the people.
No.
I know what their wallets have, because you
Yeah.
can go and see what their wallet is associated with. But that doesn't really tell me much about the person. Sure, you can say, oh wow, they have a lot of Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's great. That means they have a lot more money than I do.
But what it also means is that but this is what is owning a Bored Ape? It's owning access to an exclusive club. Say if you've got people in here that own these high-end NFT collections, then they're rubbing shoulders with a lot of people with a lot of money. So you don't know the money that comes via these investors could be absolutely gigantic. So yeah,
I know that for the people that are listed in this project specifically, like they have been guessing at these people for a while. Like the one, it was rumored that he was even Snoop Dogg. Genuinely, they clearly are rubbing shoulders with some very high-end clientele, and also some very well-to-do people within every industry. So at this point, it's more a matter of kind of seeing what they're going to do next and what information they're going to release publicly.
I think the VC score. I think the VC score would be higher if we just had the names instead.
Yeah, but they say that's what I mean. Say to some people that VC score might be a 10 out of 10 because of the names that they see right there.
Yeah.
And those names might be all that we need.
Yeah, it's. I'll say this though: it's been very difficult to score these things because we have to think about how we're feeling around these things, and then how other people might feel about it, what type of risk they see, or what type of score they would give, and we have to kind of try to consider all these things too. If we score an NFT project only between me and Rob, it's going to be very low. It's going to be biased. Unfortunately, I mean, it's just the truth. Like
it is.
We're going to be biased, right? Everyone is. We're trying not to be, because we're trying to make this as fair as possible. We're trying to do this looking at all the numbers we can find, but again, we're just people.
With the lack of, with a lack of numbers, or a lack of, say, validation of numbers, then you're going off nothing more
Speculation.
than speculation. And this at the end of the day is the thing to kind of remember about this, as in, whether or not this is a good investment is an entirely speculative decision, and subject to a whole host of unknowns that are absolutely unknowable. And in hindsight, it will be incredibly obvious whether it was a genius decision or an absolute dumpster fire, and we won't know until the time.
Yeah, precisely. I'll say this though. Our next point that we're going to go to, because I think we're pretty much done with the whole VC backing thing, we're going to go into the market rank, and this is just going to be a quick one. The market rank when we started the stream 31 minutes ago was 125. It's now 127, so it's lost two places in the market cap, basically.
And that's regards to the token, correct?
That's exactly in regards to the token. It's nothing to do with like the quality of the platform or anything. Yeah, no, it's just
obviously
just
to do with, it's clearly us moving markets.
Yeah, it's us. We know it's us. Like, sorry guys, no. We have such an impact. But yes. So the market rank is 127, and we put this into a score as well because, personally, I tend to stay away from things that are not like top. I look at things top 100. I research projects, but most of the time, I stay away from things that are not like top 25. That's where I stay away from putting my money in because I'm very risk averse. I know, Rob, you're very different. John, you're very different too. But as a risk metric, the lower the market rank or cap is, the higher the risk, generally speaking. So the way I scored it was I'd label it as risky due to the fact that it's a brand new hyped project. It was 86 when I looked. The first time I looked, it said it was ranked 86. 2 days later, it was 101, I believe. And then today it was 125 30 minutes ago, and now it's 127. So you're seeing this steady decline in market cap, which means people are getting out. Overall, generally speaking, people are getting out. So I scored it with risky as a label and 3 out of 10 in score. I don't know if you guys feel like we should, if you have another understanding of what that means to you in terms of ranking and score.
Rob, you want to say your point, and then I'll do mine?
No, go for it.
In regards to this one, I know that you have to basically just avoid, exclude in every single way, shape, and form the god tier candle at the beginning.
Yeah.
But even with not looking at those and seeing just the continued degradation of the market cap, it's hard to not see this as basically they airdropped a shit ton of money, and then people are like, oh yeah, free money, now they have their money, and it's not really getting bought or picked up since then. Like, sure, there's been some like upward trends here and there, but it's not, nothing so far has made that much sense because the token itself is just used for voting and governance.
Yeah. And we'll dig into the tokens soon too. But you're right. Like, I just brought up this trading view window here, and I put it on 4 hourly candles. Otherwise, we would just have like 6 candles to look at on the daily. But this is an OKX, and I just put this in when I opened it, and it's already dropped more now in terms of value. So the window is not correct, but from all-time high back on the 19th at 5 in the morning. UTC, and then now it's down, not here, so we're down basically 44% in 6 days, 12 hours.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I mean, usually when you have a new token coming out, you get the god candle, then you get some kind of weird, either super hard down or super hard up. This one happened to go up and then down. I believe that Aptos, I think the Aptos did the other way around basically, but
if you want to just put on my screen for a second.
Yeah, for sure.
One comparison. So this is the chart of a Uniswap token, And so for anybody that doesn't remember those glorious days back in 2020, Uniswap essentially did a very sort of similar airdrop mechanism to what Blur have done, whereby they handed 400 Uniswap tokens to anyone and everyone who had ever used the platform. And this was, this was already one of the largest dexes, if not the largest dex, and they handed out this huge amount of tokens. And towards the start, you see, sort of very similar behavior. You see this spike up to sort of $15, and then a complete collapse down to below 2. I remember selling a chunk of mine at about 7 and thinking, doing very, very well out of it. But then you see where it ended up going during a hype cycle, pumped all the way up to $45-ish, and then promptly spent the bear market coming all the way back down, and it's now currently sits back at $6. So
you're up $1 then.
So
$400 actually, if you got 400 tokens.
Yeah. So
congratulations, Rob.
Yay! No, actually, I did very, very well out of it. That led to my best trade of the bull market.
Nice.
From that. So, but it's kind of, this is kind of could be seen as sort of a roadmap of how this kind of token distribution can go, where yes, you can have these huge pumps, because right now the tokens ran off speculation and there's a very low circulating supply, and that can lead to a bit of hype. People start buying in. NFTs in general go nuts, and Blur starts taking a huge chunk of that platform. It can go absolutely nuts, but ultimately that continuous down pressure and that lack of real utility will start to take hold, because a Uniswap to this day doesn't really have a particularly strong use case. It doesn't have the huge value in holding the token. It's got liquidity, it's got some governance side to it, but so what? I can use Uniswap without holding the Uni token.
So we're like I said, we're digging into that soon as well too. I think it's actually very close to getting into that. But generally speaking, it's yes, you can get a huge pump. You can also get an eternal dump, and because the way that this works, and we'll get into this, all you can do is completely speculate at this point, which is not great. Numbers are great. Use case is great. But we'll dig into that too. But market rank, like I said, we put it to risky. Put it at 3 out of 10 because, well, it's plummeting, and it's 120. It's as high as it is right now due to the hype. I'm pretty sure. I think that's one of the big reasons for it.
And it's also not that long ago since the airdrop happened.
Precisely.
Until we see any kind of information come out about the future of the Blur project, I'm not sure what's going to be happening with the token price other than continued downfall.
Right. Okay. Next, let's see. So here's a big up point for them, actually. So volume divided by market cap, or the traded daily volume against the market cap. And Rob kind of disappeared there. He's probably going to get back soon. So the volume traded in terms of market cap is 105%. So you have the entire market cap, and an extra 5% of that is being traded on the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very big plus. Generally speaking, you would say that if something is not traded, for me, it's like around 5% of the market cap I want to be traded. If it's under that, I'm generally not wanting to touch it. Hi, Rob. Welcome back.
Hi.
And so having that high volume of trading, the token trading happening is actually a good sign. That means that there's a lot of interest in trading the token. It means there's a lot of let's call it distribution of the token into different hands. People are buying a little bit here, people are selling a little bit there.
If you if you had to speculate beyond just the hype itself, why would you trade Blur
Well,
other
that's
than
the
to get out
thing.
of your position?
That's the thing, and what's happened is we had just had a huge airdrop, right? I think a friend of
360
60
million
million.
tokens, so
Yeah.
roughly $300 million.
Yeah, and the thing is that we know that we had a friend of ours who's in the I think in the chat who
Yeah.
made a lot of money on this airdrop, and this person just got rid of it right away because why not take profits, right? So and we're getting to this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 points left, and then we're getting into the use case of the token, which is where we really should dig into this whole token thing, right? But yeah, so it's being traded, and I think the volume market cap trading percentage will probably drop significantly over the next month or so, because eventually the ones that want to buy it have bought it and they don't want to buy more, and the ones who wanted to sell it has sold it, and there will be just a little bit of speculation happening then. So right now it's a good sign. We scored this 10 out of 10 because it's over 100% that's being traded every day, which is fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that generally happens during hype periods. But still,
it's a new launch, so yeah. That volume is
precisely
high on initial launch coin.
Yeah, but to be fair, it does have that number right now, and therefore we're giving it 10 out of 10 because it can't really get better than 100%. I mean, yes, it can, but we can't expect too much either.
Yeah.
So next piece of it would be these ones kind of tie into each other a little bit. So fully diluted market cap is $2.5 billion. And the market cap itself is, what was it, $328 million. So the difference between those two is kind of a problem, because that means that there's a lot of tokens that are still locked up that will be dropped into the market. You'll have inflation of the token, all these things. So when the fully diluted market cap is that much larger than the market cap, you can just see that there's risk there. It's right in front of you. So we scored that risky 3 out of 10. We didn't go for high risk because it's expected.
And there is technically the chance that they do come out with more information, or basically more use.
Some use. How about some use?
Some use.
Yeah, some.
That may actually provide a real value.
We've started to see. We have started to see that ideas from other projects on how governance platforms will work, on how things like royalties are handled, on how fees are distributed. It may well be that there's the governance could include voting on a fee distribution structure for Blur holders, things like that. That could be included. So it's it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see some.
Yeah. Again, we'll get to that soon.
I know.
Okay. Circulating supply is 13%.
Yes.
Which is big risk. We scored that as a high risk because circulating supply should be. I mean, granted, this is a new project. We don't expect 100% of the circulating supply to be, or the supply to be circulating. But now that we just had a huge airdrop, which was basically all of that. And then the next, Rob, do you have this? Do you have the? Actually, no, wait. I have it.
You have it? Yeah.
Yes.
So right now it's currently running on infinity % inflation, so it's a little bit hard to.
So here are some numbers. We can just go over this real quick. So circulating supply is almost 400 million tokens. Max supply is 3 billion. Fully diluted is 2.5 billion, like we said. Market cap is 3 million 328 million. Damn, I can't even talk anymore. So the total locked supply is actually almost 88%, right? So remaining locked is 88%. Next unlocking event is in 108 days. And
now see that linear unlock value, $1 million and 72,000 per day. So that is the amount of supply currently being dumped on the market.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, that's a lot for something which is pretty new. I mean,
what this basically translates into, if you there's a vesting schedule, right? It's all this, and what Rob, what you're trying to say is that this has to be put into the market to keep the coin at the price it is now.
So for comparison,
0%.
right? For comparison, Bitcoin's inflation rate, it's essentially its linear unlock rate of 900 coins per day is 20,700,000 per day.
Yeah, with a market cap of, what is it?
Hundreds of billions.
Almost $500 billion.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at what? At 5 to 10% of that.
So
we actually calculated, I believe, if you take all of these token release and then you make it into an average across this time per year, so year over year average is
I think it's 47%.
47% year over year across 4 years. It's much worse in the beginning, Rob, as you said. It's like 100%. If the next airdrop is the same size as it was this time,
it's supposed
100%.
to be larger.
No, it's 6.5%. It says there.
Right. Well, either way, there's a lot of.
But either way,
this is where it's easier to just look and kind of get a good idea.
Because that's 6.5% from 13%. So it's basically that's another 50% increase, and then the rate starts to really ramp up at over 100% a year. Like, it's a crazy amount of inflation.
And again, if in order for the Blur token to stay stagnant in price, the amount of money that goes, the buying pressure has to equal the inflation, essentially, to keep it at zero. So if you as an investor look at this and you say, oh, I think that people, on average will put in, or the market will put in about $1 million or $1.1 million at least every day,
then the price is going to stay where it is.
Then the price is going to stay where it is. Essentially, this is what a lot of people don't really look at. This is very important stuff, because if the inflation is too high, there's no way the market is going to be able to buy that up. If a bull market starts and you start exponentially growing the whole market, then
it's going to be able to keep up. $1 million a day.
Yeah, it's not. It makes little sense, especially since the airdrop is still a lot of people selling off their tokens, right? Because they want to take some profits. And in 108 days, 109 days, they're going to drop another bunch, which is right here, 200 million tokens, 6.5%. So suddenly, in just over 3 months, we're going to get another huge sell wall, basically, right? With people that are going to want to dump their tokens because they made some rewards and they want to sell their tokens. So not great.
Do we have information on the people that are staking the token?
No, I do currently. I'm currently looking at the number of holders, however. So if you're just having a look at it on Etherscan, so on the first, basically within the first 2 days, it went from.
Can you share your screen, by the way?
I can do. This isn't very visible, but
let me put that up for you. There we go.
Zoom in a bit. So you can see the number of holders here, and it very quickly got up to 44,000 on the 15th of February. So in the last 10 days, the amount of holders has grown by 0. No new holders.
Okay, so it's basically people getting out and then being replaced by new ones, or no one new goes in.
or
It looks
people
like there's
selling.
what 300 max new ones.
Well, it's in it's 0.2% up in for something that's 10 days old. 0.2% up. Okay, it's not. This is the time when you want to see that real exponential
Rolling,
divide,
yeah.
that initial spike of user base, and see, okay, where are we at now? 400,000 transactions amongst 44,000 holders. So there's a lot of transfer volume, but yeah, there's not any real outside accumulation for people who, not any major outside accumulation for people who basically didn't get airdrop this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so and you can see, I don't know if that number is correct that you're looking at right now, but it seems that the fully
Well, this
diluted
is
market
based on
cap
chain
has
data.
gone down by 100 million since we last spoke about it. But that's probably older data, maybe. But okay, so cool. We're finally at the use case of the token discussion, which is going to be a big one, because we have been trying to dig around and figure out what is the point of this token. So just to preface this, a token for, let's say, Ethereum, people need Ethereum because otherwise you can't use the applications that are built on Ethereum, right? You need Ethereum to transact on Ethereum, which gives Ethereum a very large use case, especially as the ecosystem grows with more applications, more projects, and all these things, right? Like Blur. If you have a project like Blur where they say, here, we have a token, and the only information we can actually find as far as right now, maybe there will be more use cases added to this token down the road, but as it looks right now, the only use case for this token is a reward system and a governance and voting type thing where you can vote on changes and stuff like that. It's a DAO, right? So if there is no incentive, like if you don't need the token for anything, unless if it's just to vote in a DAO, which most people don't really care much for, in all honesty, people don't really care that much, then why would anyone want to opt in and buy this as an investment if there's no point in using it? So as far as we can tell, it's kind of useless. There's no like the only thing that the token does is give rewards to people that use the platform, and then what? So the only thing that happens when someone gets an airdrop is that they will sell it for profits, most likely, as it is a reward, right?
And currently, it is. How do I put this?
Bluntly,
For what this token is supposed to be doing, it's just using it for voting and governance of what the Blur project is supposed to be. How you're going to be using that to vote and what governance style you're going to be using over such a trading platform, I'm not sure I completely understand. Like what decision making will be going on there. So that in of itself gives me a pause to question. Maybe it's in regards to royalties, but they've already got their own system in regards to royalties. That's one of Blur's biggest things.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in regards to how collections are viewed or sold or traded or something like that. But trading much else beyond this current standpoint doesn't really make a lot of sense. So having this token for voting and governance, I'm not really sure what you could be voting on or what it would really be governing. What I do see with this type of token, though, is where you can essentially have very large collections that are coming on that are well known, and you're giving a prime opportunity for whales to basically use lower end people as liquidity out of their projects. And especially in a bull market or a bull run of any way, this is basically their prime opportunity to make as much money as possible, because a bull run is going to give them massive profits in comparison. And even if they're making it even, for some of these people, that's still millions of dollars. And so not only are they market making the situation, but then they're market manipulating the situation, and they're getting all their exit liquidity all at the same time.
Right.
Anyone would think this game's rigged, wouldn't you?
Well,
but that's the thing.
look,
That's one of the things that Blur says that they prevent is you can't rig the system. And yet, if you look at the data that they have available, the biggest wallets on the trading platform are clearly getting the most amount of points. Therefore, they're getting the most amount of money because they're getting the most amount of the airdrop. And they
Yeah.
also have the most amount of money, so they can do the most amount of bids and therefore the most amount of trades, regardless of whether or not they're losing or gaining money with these trades.
Yeah, so that's what I mean by the whole reward thing. Like, if this is designed to be a reward, and as far as I understand too, it's they're trying to do some good stuff for creators so that creators get more royalties and something like that. I'm not sure I completely understood that. Maybe you can touch on that, John, later. But if the token is designed to be a reward, then the only incentive that surrounds the token is sell pressure in my book. Like if you're a user and you just want to trade NFTs and you enjoy doing that, then by all means, Blur might be great for you because you'll get some rewards in form of sort of airdrops where you can maybe get back some of your losses that you've made or whatever, or get even more profits. That's certainly possible. I personally, I don't condone trading NFTs because I don't really. I feel NFTs are just pure speculation. There's no real, it's just it's the Wild West. It's just a game of trades, right?
It's Pokemon card trading. It's what it is. It's Pokemon cards.
Most of it is like that. I mean, obviously, there are projects that are looking into tokenizing real estate and these type of things where it's like a set price for stuff, and then it's different.
There's
right?
a lot of very
because then you can use market data,
and then there are the ones that genuinely are digital products that are also real life products that have been brought to the market. Like we've seen real estate. We've seen the
cars even, I think we saw somewhere.
Like, art is massive, but there's also been trying to think, it's basically like people creating timeshares, but they're turning it into the NFT space. And it actually works out better because then you're not paying the same monthly fees all over again, and you don't have to do the bullshit of a timeshare, but you still essentially get the same benefits of a timeshare.
So we've what we're gonna do, guys, is like timeshare, but not a scam this time. Honestly, not a scam. It's like a timeshare, but not a scam.
Yeah, pinky promise.
What? Wash trade? What? Sorry, what's wash trade? Wash trading? No.
Yeah.
No.
I wash every day.
No.
I had a shower before this.
Manipulation? Not me.
Yeah, okay.
Never.
So
Scouts on it. Yeah.
Let's not dig too deep into that. Not dig that too deep. But yeah. So essentially, use case of the token in my view, my score is 1 out of 10 because essentially it's useless as a utility, except for the governance, which is why it has 1 out of 10 and not 0. To be completely honest, I'm pretty harsh with these things. You guys, you give your score if you want.
I can give a use case, but it's something that a lot of people would huff and puff and complain about. It's one use case that it has is that it would be some sort of representation of your belief in how well Blur as a platform will do. And say you wanted to invest in that platform and receive some sort of reward for that investment. Maybe you might buy some sort of share in the company. Oh shit, wait, is it security? Oh dear.
I can't believe you just did that.
But this unfortunately, this is kind of this. Not saying that it is or it isn't, but the rules. This is the problem with the rules: is that when you have a token that doesn't have any real and obvious use case that is beyond, look at us, we're a really, really good platform, buy our token. That is exactly what Apple do. Apple do go, look, we're a really, really, really good company, buy our token. So you have to really you have to have a clear use case.
When you look at just the Howey test in and of itself for the Blur token, there is no comprehensible way that you could ever see this token as anything else other than a way to make money.
Yeah.
There's no other use case for it.
Yeah.
Because there's literally, you can't even use it for the use case that it currently says that it has.
Right. There's no.
So the
voting yet,
only
right?
thing that it is right now is just free money.
Yeah. So okay.
So
let's put a
Coupons.
let's make a
IOU coupons.
let's make a comparison just real quick. Just to
IOU governance.
So let's do a comparison just real quick, and I'm just gonna grab a token that I'm pretty familiar with, yeah. And it's gonna be Crypto.com's CRO token, the Kronos chain, right?
Yeah.
So in comparison to Blur, it's a completely different project, obviously, but and completely different thing. The only similarity is that Crypto.com is a trading platform, right? But the way that they built
it's its own native layer 1 now as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly, and it's their own native layer 1 now.
That's true.
So their tokens use case, just if you get like the Crypto.com app, which I use all the time, like I have the card and all these things, right? The incentive to have the token is like, okay, if you have tokens, you can look them up and get this card that gives you a bunch of benefits. You get this amount of cash back, you get 100% cash back on Spotify and Netflix and these things, but depending on which card you have, right? And yeah, you're gonna have to lock up the token to get that benefit, right? So that is a great incentive to have that, right? It's like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll spend $400. I'm just saying random numbers here, but let's say I spent $400 on getting some Kronos token. Okay, good. I know then that I can instantly lock that up for the red card that they have. I think I have it here in my box because I have the other card in my wallet. But let's say you do that, and then you get some cash back, and you know you can use card, and you get some cash back, and you get like a passive investment into crypto because you get cash back in their token. So then you know that you're spending money to have a use case. You're not spending it to make money on that token. You're spending it because you want tokens and you want or you want the card and all these things, which is that's use case. The Blur token's like, oh, let's buy a Blur token. Why? I don't know.
And so just to be to kind of elaborate on that a little bit with Crypto.com, because I joined Crypto.com in 2019, quite early on. And it was back when they had MCO as a token. So they actually had two tokens. So they had MCO and CRO. And MCO, eventually they phased it out because MCO was what you would stake in order to get the card. They still call it, I think, the MCO card. And they eventually phased MCO out because MCO didn't have any real utility beyond essentially it's a finite supply. And I'll say I bought it for the reason that I looked at it and went, holy crap, like you can buy so many of these, stake them. There's only like a few thousand people that can have this card. That if you stake like $1,000, it was an incredibly cheap way of buying a very pretty big slice of the pie, but it didn't have any
other
additional value. You just get, and that was basically the issue that they had because they initially said we don't want to cancel MCO, but eventually they were like, no, we're going to phase it out because every time they came along trying to move to new jurisdictions, they were like, what the fuck is this? It's essentially what they were saying.
They replaced it with a layer 1 token, basically, right?
With CRO, which was their kind of it was basically a rewards token. It was at the time it was Avios points, it was air miles, but spendable air miles, tradable air miles. And then on top of that, they introduced they built their own chain, or they created a fork of Ethereum that is now its own layer 1 chain with its own NFTs, which are paid for with CRO. So it's got its own tokens running on that platform, and it acts as the gas token. So the same as Ethereum. And it's then now, okay, there are arguments for securitization around Ethereum as well, but ultimately has actual utility beyond an investment to try and make a profit off. And that's something that is going to be a war ground of crypto in the coming months, years,
Yep.
decades even. This
Yep.
is going to be a battle. We've had the heard the cliched phrase, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win.
Right.
We're just about getting to the fighting stage.
Yeah.
We've just got out of the laughing phase, and there's still a lot of laughing that's going on. The fight hasn't really started yet, and when they do start to come down, a lot of tokens are going to be not very happy with where they end up, or the limitations placed on them.
So this is my point with the whole use case thing, is that if a token doesn't have use case, then there's no incentive to invest in it, which means that, and I'm not going to be the only one who has this view. A lot of people that are looking at Blur will say, why would people want this token? And there's just going to be a huge question mark there.
Because currently there is no answer. It's
precisely,
and which is on their website. If you go, I was actually just looking at their click on Blur, you click on airdrop, you get their season 2, where it tells you about their points and all that jazz. It doesn't really give you that much information. Beyond that, you can click on the idea map. And when you click on the idea map, there is next to absolutely nothing there.
Can you share your screen for that? Let's show us.
They have no ideas.
Because I love it if we can share the screen and show that stuff, so it's not so people can't look at us and say, oh, they said this. Like, no, we're showing you at the same time.
Okay.
Let's see. There's John's. There you go, John. You're on.
So right here, we have Blur. You're able to click on Blur, and then you go to their airdrop, and then you click on season 2 and go over to their idea map.
Yeah.
This is their idea map. This is everything that they're saying is going to be coming.
Looks good.
All right. So we have loyalty rewards, we have redacted, and we have F switch. And if you hover over them, you get a square with a bunch of lines and some circles floating, and it points at a hole in the mountain, maybe. And then if you click on it, nothing happens.
Okay.
Then you go to redacted, and now it points at a piece of land, and it shows you a bunch of numbers and basically no other information whatsoever. Can't click on it because there's nothing there. Go over to F switch, and now you have money up, money down, money go round and round. I don't really understand what F switch is honestly supposed to be, but you're in the mountains this time, so it's got to be better.
Money go forward, money go backward.
In an alien land, where the money actually does go round and round.
Okay, we get the point. It's just a big question mark, essentially.
Yeah, and then so there's mine for the ghost that can't stay inside a box.
Is that a piece of bacon?
It is now. Now it is.
It looks like a strip of bacon.
Then there's that.
Oh.
Well, yeah, cool. Obviously.
Satellite dish. Cool.
Yeah. Again, there's nothing useful there. Now we have the art blocks. And they are
so okay, we
again, I don't understand because there's nothing presented here. It's a square that doesn't even hover over the rectangles correctly, and they're just like shifting some supposedly 3-dimensional objects, but it's just
okay. So let's drop this piece. It's nothing there basically,
and now we have.
Can I just say, keep in mind, everybody, this project currently is worth about $400 million.
Yeah, it is.
So this is something, as I was just sort of looking at while John was giving us incredible detail about their roadmap, more detail than the actual roadmap has. Quite impressive. And it's just to have a look at some of sort of the other governance tokens and what their sort of market caps are. So, we have, you've got ApeCoin at 4.9 billion fully diluted. 1.8 circulating. That's shows, kind of still sort of the ridiculousness of the NFT market in some ways, that you've got this another coin that's attached to these NFTs worth 5 billion just because.
Yeah.
For no real reason other than just because. If you go to some of the real, so just looking at the real blue chip DeFi stuff, Uniswap, as I've mentioned, so Uniswap's market cap 6.5 billion. This is a huge player in the market that's been going for years, is a market leader, and it's worth only 3 times more than what we're saying this brand new platform, its fully diluted market cap is. Aave, another one that's got, I have held Aave in the past. I did very well off Aave purely as a flip, but it's, why the hell does anybody hold Aave? And it's got a fully diluted market cap of, well, nearly fully circulating market cap of over 1.1 billion, less than Blur has fully diluted. And why? For when these big players only have have smaller market caps, what is this got that's going to really move it?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna move us along. So next point we were looking at is various market listings for the token itself, and that's actually very good. So I'm gonna share my screen for this. So here we go. Here are the Blur markets where you can find it. So we got Coinbase, which is huge, of course. It's great. Got KuCoin, Kraken, Bitfinex, Bithumb, Uniswap, and all these. Gate.io, Huobi, Bybit, and BitGet. You got some of the bigger names here. Obviously, Coinbase, KuCoin, and Kraken are the bigger ones, but there's no Binance yet, and so on and so forth. But it is widely available, at least, which is good. And that's all I wanted on this point, because it don't feel like we need to put much emphasis on where it's listed, right?
I feel like anywhere that Paradigm has invested, it's probably where it's listed.
Probably. Okay, so for listings, we give it a 6 out of 10 because it is easy to get your hands on if you do want it, right? And if you get the airdrop and you want to sell it, then yeah, it's not difficult to get that done.
Thing for the United States, though, just so that everyone can remember, you do need a VPN to access anything with Blur in the United States. That means you cannot legally be using it or technically having it. That means a VPN, which is you're basically saying, I'm in a different country than the United States, opening up these gift packages from Blur, and then you're accepting a token, which isn't the best. Just so that's clear. I mean,
yeah, so let's just, if you are in America,
anything.
Yeah, don't.
But yeah, these things that have been blocked in the US are still accessible by the back end, so you can interact directly with the contract.
So and obviously we don't want. I guess it goes without saying that we would not condone doing anything. If you are in America, don't use a VPN. Don't mess with it. Just leave it, because obviously it's not legally accessible to you. And if you start poking around with it, then you are breaking the law, I suppose. So
it's one of those weird gray lines because it is crypto. I know that a lot of people in New York State, they can't have crypto, but they still find ways to get it. Usually through VPN methods.
Yeah.
But again, with how some of this is going in people in the United States, that means that with this type of token, it's kind of like ApeCoin. It's more than likely listed as an unregistered security. And while this probably isn't listed out of the United States, that does leave some potential high risk attacks from people like the SEC. alternatively, there are regulations going into effect in like the UK and in Europe as a whole. They also might be calling out certain projects for basically being unregistered or without adhering to certain regulatory bodies. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something to be looking for, especially as more of these kind of
As the
useless
rules get
coins
more,
get created for large businesses.
You didn't want to say the S word, did you?
I didn't.
Okay, so
it's got
let's
such a well-behaved mouth as our John.
I'm trying.
let's just call it a human excrement coin then,
Yeah.
right? No,
Wait,
I don't
you
want to
mean-
put that
you mean
label on
shit,
it,
right?
to be honest. Oh, dang it! He said it.
Who's gonna bleep it?
What? Damn. All right, so next point, guys. We're almost done with the points. We only have one large one and two pretty small ones, and then one medium-sized one, and then we can get into kind of our conclusion with this thing, and maybe answer some questions as well. I know there's questions that have been asked that we want to respond to as well. So we're getting to my favorite part, which is the team.
How's that your favorite part?
Because
It's the easiest to
because
score.
of, it was the only one that was easy to score. So for team, for Blur, it is unknown, and we have basically everybody's under pseudonyms, just like the most of the VC backers, with the Paradigm being the exception there. There are just names, like, in-game name tags, basically, with a funny avatar that is building this project. And therefore, for me, that is usually one of the first, after looking at market cap and volume trading, everything, the first thing I look into on the fundamental analysis for something is the team, because I want to know who are these guys, what have they done before, what kind of expertise do they have, what kind of experiences do they have, and all these things, just to know, like, okay, if somebody who is extremely successful doing other stuff, and then getting the same guy doing this, then I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, he knows what he's doing, right? So for this one, it's completely unknown. We don't know who they are. We don't have any names. We don't have anything. So for me, that's just a huge red flag, and therefore I've scored it 0 out of 10, because there's no way I'm touching it personally. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I'm not interested now. I think it will be potentially very tradable in terms of having access to multiple sort of hype cycle narratives. As there will be sort of new trends in NFTs that come along, and that if Blur can capture a significant market share of what is going to be tens, hundreds of billions of dollars of volume, then the platform will succeed, and whatever it insinuates, if the platform succeeds, the token will likely appreciate. It as a money making investment, then is it now a good time? I think the market
I was mainly
cap,
asking about the team.
no, I mean, but it's like I'm just thinking sort of on the bigger picture, really, it's like,
Yeah.
these are the kind of things that you want to look at. Is so much risk involved.
Yeah.
Where does the risk level become too much?
Yeah.
Where are the diminishing returns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, looking at the team, even being involved in the NFT space and seeing a bunch of names that are higher tier, because of whether their wallet collection is so large or what they have inside their wallet is impressive. The investment level that they've made inside the NFT space is a lot higher than others are willing to do. There's just a certain level of, still, you don't know who they are. You don't know anything about them unless you've interacted with them directly. And sure, now you could see the team and you could go follow them on Twitter and you could go scroll through their Twitters and try and learn as much as you can about them. That's still like looking through trying to look through like an opaque window pane and hoping that you see anything. That's all.
But is
It's not going to go
that
well for you, and you're probably going to be having a lot more questions than you have answers in the end. And even though these people are even pioneers within the NFT space, you still don't know anything about them, and that's a really hard play when you're trying to guesstimate your risks, especially on a risk analysis for investing into a project. Sure, this person is a pioneer within the field, and they have millions invested in NFTs. You can still go look in their wallet and scroll all the way down to the bottom and see all the NFTs that failed too, because they probably still have them because they can't do anything with them. So you have to remember that with successes there are failures, and you really got to do your own research as much as you can.
Yeah.
There is a question that are we crypto boomers? Are we the old people of crypto, and say that we have to kind of think and consider, and this is I agree with everything that you just said there, John, but are we entering a world where online personas and the reputation that they carry sufficient weight that actually, there are enough people that will...
They do to a degree, and I will give credence there. But beyond that, when you are talking to actual VCs, and I've talked to quite a few VCs at this point because of the businesses I'm working with, trying to find someone that's going to back your company, they do not care about your persona. Unless you're like hundreds of thousands of followers, or you have some kind of brand niche that just hits a certain target market and you're succeeding more than anyone else, more often than not, they do not care about that. They want to know why you as a company are going to make any kind of difference whatsoever in the current market status. And if they don't think that you're going to make any kind of change in the market status, they want to know why you're going to stick out at all either. Because if you're not competitive and you don't stick out, there's no reason to invest in you. So a lot of projects right now are just building the same thing slightly different from someone else. So now you have a bunch of random people that no one knows all doing the same exact thing. If you get to the VC point and you're trying to get on maybe like that deeper level, them knowing everything about you more than just your internet persona, significantly better chance of getting investments done. And that's why I have heard in regards to Blur that Pac-Man Blur did do a lot of face-to-face calls in order to get this project moving and in order to get to where it is now. So with that, I do have to give credit where credit's due. If everything was done face-to-face, that's a big, bold move that's ensuring people know who you are.
I think the question is, for me, why can't everyone know who you are at that point? Does only the rich and important people for your project earn the rights to know who you are? And let me
question.
Let me give you a point that I keep thinking about. So everybody knows who Mr. Beast is, yeah? He's known as Mr. Beast. When he writes a legal contract with his company, does he say Mr. Beast when he signs it, or does he put Jimmy, whatever his name is? It's going to be Jimmy, because he is legally Jimmy. He's not Mr. Beast. The same thing here. It's like, are you my in-game gamer name, well, it still is Ghost Walker, right? I thought it sounded cool at the time. Just don't judge me, okay? If I became a Twitch streamer and became super famous, my contracts wouldn't be signed Ghost Walker. It would be signed my name, right?
Well, it might be signed Ghost Walker Limited.
Well,
so this is it.
These Limited, right? No, but you see what I mean. It's like there is always a you have to put this is my point. It's I don't understand why they feel they need to hide. Do they have something? You hide if you have something to hide, in my book, right?
There is something to be said about basically our generation wanting a lot more secrecy with their lives, because a lot of people did just get massively exploited over the past generation as soon as the internet started. Basically anything and everything that could be put online has been put online, whether you wanted it to be put online or not. And so now there's people that are just like, hey, this is terrifying. I do not want everyone and their mother and their cousins to know who I am, where I live, in every single aspect of my life, because people do those deep dives.
Yeah.
And I can understand in the reverse of, hey, I'm investing in what you're doing, and so therefore I should have a right to certain levels of information. And I do agree with that. And it's like that back and forth of how much secrecy are people allowed to have, how much are they allowed to keep to themselves, and that kind of comes with what you're doing in life, what you're working on.
What if I say this then? What if Sam Bankman-Fried was a completely unknown person and his username was floofyhair123 at this point, and nobody knew who he was? Like, yeah.
They say then there would be a paper trail to determine who he was.
Well, certainly, but you can imagine the outrage. People are mad at Sam Bankman-Fried right now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would be mad at Floofy Hairboy 123.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't know who it was. So then a lot of accountability and consequences for your actions are removed if you do something wrong. And therefore, I feel like when somebody is hiding behind a pseudonym or a username with an avatar, they won't be afraid to make as many mistakes as they would if they were using the real name and all these things. So I just don't trust it. You know what I mean?
So just not, that's not wanting to delve too far deeply into this particular rabbit hole, but the conversation about when people would say, people who are atheists can't be moral. Like, you can be anonymous and still be a hardworking, just individual working towards a really good common goal. That is absolutely, perfectly feasible. And then maybe, very many legitimate reasons, potentially through to these guys who work for tech companies, that they don't want to muddy, to tie their work and private interest together. Do they have I
personally
there's just
know
a whole host of reasons.
They are contractually held that they cannot release their real names, but they can use their internet personas to continue working on their project. So as long as they don't release their name, they're technically okay, because they made a contract with an overarching tech company. And the tech company, they've already been, the one guy's been working with them for about like 8 years, and he was told after 5 years of working with the company, he's allowed to work on exterior projects as long as he requests certain permissions. There's a lot of people within the Web3 space that are still working for these larger tech companies. Not all of them are able to secure those types of contracts or even those types of deals with their companies. So by technicality, some of these people, if they release their information, that company could just take everything associated with that project because of the technology created. It's a very interesting concept there, because you're running over NDAs, you're running over creation clauses, you're running into instances of some companies where they've already been working on Web3 solutions and tech. And if you're creating a project that's supposed to be the new edge of Web3 space, you kind of put yourself into a pinhole there, because now everything that you've done on your own is now going to be owned by this company.
Right. Okay. Should we move on to the next point?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, cool. So the next one is social's growth. So how the project's social medias are growing. The only number I could actually find is their Twitter numbers. And recently I joined their Discord to look, and I'm not sure, and I haven't looked at their actual Twitter end number. I don't know if you guys can pull up their Twitter just real quick, but according to oh no, where did I put it? There we go. So I pulled up sentiment real quick, just to check on some numbers here. So what I did was I put the volume of Blur being traded compared to Twitter followers for Blur. And just because these are the only two ones I could actually compare here. So the yellow line here is the Twitter followers, and it's in 6-hour segments or timeframes. So every 6 hours it updates. So it's been growing steadily, and it's currently, according to Sentiment, at 239,000 followers on Twitter.
That is correct. I have it up right now.
Okay, great. Then Sentiment is right. Their Discord was showing 128,000.
That is also correct.
No, their Discord Twitter users, according to their bot on Twitter, or on Discord, is saying 128,000, as far as I could tell a few minutes ago.
You mean how many Discord users they have?
It says Twitter.
It's over 100K inside their Discord.
Yeah, inside their Discord it says Twitter 144,228, but on Sentiment it says 239,000. So I'm like, okay. So then we double checked on Twitter, so now we know. Either way, it's growing, which is good. You know, there's people interested and they're looking. Then you have the trading volume going down at the same time, which is most likely because of the airdrop, right? Most people have sold off what they wanted, and now it's kind of just trading as speculation. But yes, so that's that. And then the next point after that, we scored this as decent with 5 out of 10, by the way. The next one is platform adoption, which I have
just to kind of hang on that for a second.
Sure.
Gotta put that last chart back up.
Sure. Sentiment, yeah.
Is a very good sort of. You've lost. Next one, that one. And what it really does show is that there's two sort of sides to value accrual represented on here.
Yep.
And you've got the user base going up, sort of according to basically, following Metcalfe's law, the number of users will increase its value, but at the same time, the reducing volume and the reducing market cap and liquidity shows a reduction in sort of stored money and wealth, or with that that money is being withdrawn from the platform.
Something to note there, just with that comment that you made. It's not actual users, and that's where I think there's like it's almost like a fallacy there, because
we're getting to I'm getting to the users in a second.
It's just like users versus followers is almost like confused at times.
Yeah, I was of course. I was making the generalization that the increased number of followers will consequently lead to an increased number of users.
Yeah. So with the whole user point, here are the actual users. And this is, going back all the way down to daily. This is daily active users. So daily active addresses is actually what it is, because I don't know why they keep putting it daily active users when they do these things, because it's daily active addresses on the platform, right? So we're looking at a steady growth. It's kind of stagnated over here for a little bit, but still, now it's after the airdrop, it went up pretty high. So now we're at about 16,600 daily active users on Blur, peaked at 19,000. So this looks good in terms of there's more users using it. But again, since we discussed the whole point of there's no actual use case for the token, users on the platform does not translate into higher valued token, because the users don't need the token. But yeah, I'm happy for them that their platform is being used. Like we said before, we don't have anything really bad to say about the platform itself. It does what it's supposed to do, and that's all good and dandy. So user growth is expected, I would say. So we'll see. It should probably peak every time there's an airdrop. But yes.
What they'd want to see is higher and higher peaks. As a
precisely
from a charting perspective.
Yeah, higher highs and lower lows, or higher lows. Sorry, higher highs, lower higher highs, higher lows.
Just like a widening cone that just gets.
Precisely. Okay, so both of those kind of growth metrics that we put in was social growth is a steady growth on Twitter, which is decent for us. That's good. or that's at least something. It doesn't have that much weight in terms of token value and stuff like that, but there is at
And over
least
such a
growing
short time
interest of the
period.
token. Yeah, it's growing interest of the token is not a bad metric, right? But since it doesn't have that much weight in the whole grand scheme of things, it's 5 out of 10, so it's decent. Platform adoption is the steady user adoption, which is good. So we gave that actually a 6 out of 10. The reason to why it's put at decent is basically because, again, the token kind of ruins it. There's no more users doesn't translate into higher token value necessarily. But yeah, platform is growing. That's good. They probably make money some way for that, of course. And then the last part here, I think it's worthy of a little bit of a discussion actually. So competitiveness. So its competitiveness against similar platforms. I mean, its competitors are OpenSea, which is quite the large competitor.
So its competitors
John,
are
please.
OpenSea. I think it's like
Looks rare,
2x2y or x2xy. And then there's Magic Eden, and there's a few other places where you can trade NFTs, of course. But right now, Blur has captured almost 70%. I think it was ranging between like 65 and 68% of all NFT trading. That's a massive, massive segment.
Yeah. We can go over the numbers here, actually, John, because we found this. This was actually found on the Blur site.
Perfect.
Links for this. So you have volume of market share, it's 81.6%, which is good. So trades market share is 56%, and Magic Eden, OpenSea is 35%. If you look at the trade account for the top 10 marketplaces, obviously OpenSea is huge, and I believe this is on ETH, all of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got Blur being the second biggest one. Again, this could be because of the hype, or it could be because the platform is just good and people like it.
What I would currently put it down to,
subjective.
partly, I would put it down to the fact that because it has just launched and they have just had this airdrop, there will be a whole lot of people purposefully going and currently using it just so that they've got some transactions on there in anticipation of any future airdrops. So that, I would bear that in mind with these metrics, that given how new it is, there is a motivation for people to be using it now. That
there is a massive motivation.
Yeah,
especially
that may
for
not
season
hold
2
in the future. Yeah.
So the second page that we have here is Ethereum NFT aggregators, and obviously you can see it's massive compared to Alpha Sharks and BitKeep and Flip Gem, for example, which was the one that they compared it to on their own. So there's it's huge right now, but so hopefully for their sake and for investors' sake, it will carry on being this big. I don't see a reason to why it would stay this large. Like, if we go back and look at this in the summer of 2023, then these numbers will be probably very different.
But the thing to look at here is that weekly volume. If you look, you can go all the way back to sort of November, when Blur went and very, very quickly took over the predominant volume.
You're talking about this, just so everyone knows.
Yeah. So before there were talks of an airdrop and stuff. So Blur genuinely came in and took some really significant volume based on this metrics early on. Like, it launched and boom, it started.
And that's even with them announcing delays.
Yeah. So I mean, it's again, I think we've already established that the platform itself is a good platform. We scored that pretty high. People's team seems to like it, but are they going to stick with it, or are they going to kind of roll back into OpenSea and stuff like that? We have to wait and see. Like, we can't really
I
So
think that OpenSea is definitely going to be struggling. They may be the second largest, but genuinely the continued issues and efforts that they have right now, and honestly, their rather poor customer service, it's just not going well for them. They have fired a lot of people. So as far as OpenSea goes, it's a struggle fest right there. Versus right now, Blur is only going up and up. They have a second season going to gain points. People will be making money off of that. OpenSea has next to no real way to compete with that right now. Even
But
with the
other
way
than
that they're allowing royalties to be done on Blur, it's significantly better. It's
but let's
a
say
better and
that's
more open policy.
doesn't that though, being an aggregator, the fact that OpenSea is still the largest and most liquid NFT marketplace means that simply the fact of using Blur doesn't stop OpenSea itself being used.
Correct.
And
No, you
that's
can
it.
use both of them.
Yeah, and so it really does incentivize this cooperation of a fair fee structure.
Correct.
And OpenSea will be looking at these metrics, looking at these usage, these adoption curves of usage, and going, "Oh dear, we need to have a bit of a think." You know, the same way as Uniswap had to. Uniswap came out, it launched, it was open source. Very very quickly, you had competitors, clones, a whole host of other things. Stuff like 1inch come along, which is 1inch is a DeFi aggregator. You're seeing the same technological path of these aggregators can come along. They can still 1inch makes use of Uniswap as one of its options, but it will look for it's looking for where that arbitrage opportunity is and what's that percentage of the market you can capture by being simply more efficient than your competitors. And OpenSea now they are at risk of basically being a bit of a Coinbase and being sort of left behind the curve, and it's how they respond to that.
Yeah. So in essence, I think competitiveness as a platform is decent.
I would say it's good.
It's good. I think the yeah, you made a good point there, Rob. I think I might have to change my score on the competitiveness because I actually scored it pretty low, mainly because the size of the competitors. But yeah, it's like you see how Polygon builds on Ethereum, and it's taking a huge chunk of Ethereum, and Polygon was tiny then. And the same way that Solana started with being a tiny thing, and then they came in, and their main competitor was Ethereum, and they blasted it. They went really well for Solana, and it's still going pretty well, even though things. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, it's. I think you're right. I might have to change this to decent, actually.
I think that it's going to have a lot more credence after its second season, because not only are people incentivized right now to be using Blur over any other NFT trading platform, but they're also getting points based on that, which means they're going to get more of the airdrop based on that.
Yeah.
So right there, unless there's some significant change with one of these other NFT trading platforms, the only one that actually technically would be the most beneficial to use is Blur.
Right.
The platform itself is a very good platform for creators and for people that want to make money.
Yeah.
All the other platforms, depending on how their fee ratio is, even then, more often than not, Blur is going to be better with the fee ratio.
As a platform, yeah. You're right. So I've changed my score from 4 out of 10 to 6 out of 10, and the reason to why I put it at 6 out of 10 is because the overall score, looking back, and I do have to take that into account as well, and I think everyone would, that competitiveness as a platform is pretty high. Competitiveness as a token on the market is not good.
Yeah.
So I've changed it to 6 out of 10. I feel like I'm pretty nice with that, to be fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for it. For changing it from 4 to 6. In my heart, I want to put a 5 on there at the very best, but I think you're right with the arguments that you put forth to make me put it up to 6, even though it hurts my feelings.
See, your
We give
logic,
you full credence when you're talking about the token, though.
So I need to
your rationale though is kind of making me think: do we need to put it down from a 6 back to a 4? You know,
no, but it's so.
For what the platform is, the platform itself is doing exceptionally well.
And that's
it
where the
does a lot better
competitiveness actually
than other
has
platforms.
weight. That's where the competitiveness actually comes in. But again, the token is kind of, it's essentially useless right now, which for me pulls down that overall competitiveness. But so I'm putting it at 6, and that's being nice for me. If you guys agree with 6, then we can go with that.
I concur.
Okay, so the overall score, I'm going to share this screen, but I need to figure out how to swap my screen from this one to another one. So I'm going to kill that one, and I'm going to present my other window. And there we go.
So Tulin said the platform is great, but I'd give the token a 5 out of 10. If we were just doing the platform and just doing the token, I'd be giving the platform probably like a 7 to an 8 just on the platform's basis alone. And if we were to just do the token would be getting like a solid 1.
Okay, but we have the numbers here, guys, so we can actually go over these and just kind of reiterate what we said. So in terms of chain, how we scored this is because we put it 10 out of 10 because it's on Ethereum, and Ethereum, like we said, is the big bad wolf, and it's probably most likely the best place to build on. I would probably say that this type of platform would have a 9 out of 10 on Solana and Polygon, and then it would go down from there with like what's it called? Avalanche would be like a 6 or 7 maybe, and so on and so forth, right? Just because of the size and the user base and all that. Even though Solana, I think, still has more users, daily active users, than Ethereum, but I'm not so sure because I haven't looked at the numbers for a couple of weeks. But so we gave it a solid 10 out of 10 there, and I don't think there's any argument against that either. The product itself, which is the platform, it's useful, it's well designed. We gave it a decent label, because what was the discussion there? I can barely even remember, but I think there was
just the way that the actual
about
website and the way the information is presented, it's very user friendly in comparison.
Yeah, so 6 out of 10 on that one. I think we all agreed was actually a good score for that. I could argue we could put it up to 7. Due to the fact that we changed the competitiveness and all these things. So I don't know. Should we move it to 7?
I might move it to a 7 based on the competitiveness.
Well, let's give it a good one then here on the product, because the product is in fact good. I hate that it does this.
I was like, wait, what?
Okay, what the heck? And then I have to change the overall score, so I'm going to do +1 here. Just so I remember that I changed it. So VC backing, Paradigm is there. It was $11 million. Gave it a decent score, guys. Do we want to change this? I feel like 5 out of 10 is pretty alright.
I feel like I almost feel like 5 out of 10 might be a little bit too much, but because they did get Paradigm, that's why I'm only at a 5.
Yeah, precisely. And I'm gonna stick with 5 too. How about you, Rob? Do you feel like that's fair?
I'm fine with 5.
Okay, great. Market rank was 127. Let me see if it's gone down even more since we started.
I think it did.
It actually has.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change this to 1. I just changed the number so we remember. It didn't go down much. It just went down 1 more rank. But when we started the stream 1 hour, 49 minutes ago, it was 125. Just keep that in mind. So it's dropping pretty quickly.
It's not that much for something so volatile. At some point, the numbers just...
Yeah. And the airdrop is... So I scored this... We labeled this risky with a 3 out of 10 due to the fact that it's... The reason to why it was so high in the ranking, market rank, was because of the airdrop, and then now it's dropping, and we don't know where it's going to end up. So the risk of getting in now is large. So we'll keep that at 3 out of 10, I think.
I give it a 4 out of 5 on the DGen score. Let's keep going.
I give it a
Oh, man.
4.2. Okay, so next one, we have the volume traded versus the market cap, which is very high, and that's great. It's always good if you're a trader and you want to trade this token between, you make some money on trades, then that amount is very good. So we put that at 10 out of 10 because I don't think anything above 100% is going to be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If it was 3%, then I would put it at like 1. But yes, okay, cool. Fully diluted market cap, that's risky too. We discussed that. That's a pretty quick metric. Kind of the same type of thing as all these below here. We got 13% circulating supply, which is high risk.
I kind of feel like circulating supply, 13% should give it a 1.3 out of 10. That's a really easy way to give it a metric.
Okay, so do we want to round that 1.3 up or down a whole point?
Oh, do we have to?
I would personally be putting it down.
Okay, we can do
Like,
that.
13%.
But
13% of your whole entire
If it was
supply.
under 10%, then I would give it a 1.
Go on then, we can keep it as a 2.
I would say I can like if it's 5%, then yeah, it's 1. But like, how much worse than 13% can you get? Like, if it's 1% circulating
12.
supply, that's a 0, right? You know what I mean? It's like the difference in whatever. We're gonna keep it there. So inflation year over year, we looked at it, and it should be about 47% year over year across 4 years on average. Yes, which is
roughly
giving us the high risk, and the $1,070,000 per day that needs to be put into this to keep it level is horrid. I could almost argue we've changed this to 0 out of 10, but it could be worse, so we can't really do that. So I'll keep it at 2 out of 10.
It's pretty similar to the rate of inflation for Aptos.
Right.
Okay.
It's quite similar to that.
Right. Okay, so use case of token, we have put it at 1 out of 10 because we feel like it's near useless, which gives it a high risk rating. The reason to why there is a 1 there is because there is use case for it, but it's just the voting on a DAO
Usable yet?
Yeah, and some would argue that the use case of the token is also to reward people, but that just means to put sell pressure on the market, which is not good. So we'll keep it at 1 out of 10, I think. We gave it a decent label, at least for the listings. They have a few big centralized exchanges listed, and I know they pay money for that to get listed. And that's a 6 out of 10. I feel like that's fair. The team got the only red flag. There's only one red flag on this one, like a proper red flag where it's 0 out of 10, and that was the team thing. If you guys want to change that, let me know. But I'm holding steady on red flag on that one, personally.
I still think pseudonyms. Sure, we can be the boomers of the group, but as far as an investment goes and what the token is, that's a big risk.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree. It is. Say, and there may be 20-year-olds are being like a 20-year-old multimillionaire NFT investor would go, What the hell are you on about? Of course we know who this guy is. He's this. Okay, cool. What does Warren Buffett think? Maybe we should be somewhere in between the two. Yeah. Let's be adventurous, but also not completely ridiculous. where we assess our risk for.
Fair.
We don't know who these people are.
I hope my microphone didn't die now because I got that weird lag. That happens sometimes. Okay, good. So I mean, in terms of the whole team thing, look at us three. We have this Crypto Talks project. There's no money involved for nobody needs to invest in this. Like no person who's watching it needs to invest in us. But we're still showing our faces, obviously, because of the nature that we're in. But we got our names here, we got our faces here. We're like, even this is something, and that's not even with money involved. And then with a team that has no nothing. I
And
don't
they
know. I'm
raised
not a fan.
$11 million and we haven't. So who are the clever ones really in all of this?
We haven't even started raising money yet. Come on. Oh, okay. So, okay, let's carry on. Social growth, we gave it a decent score because of the steady growth, which is good. It seems that people are actually interested in understanding what it is that, what the platform is. Same thing with the platform adoption. It is growing, so we're giving 6 out of 10. I feel like that's solid. Competitiveness, we changed it from risky to decent. And we had that discussion just recently, so I'm pretty happy with these scores. We're going to add 1 point, though, to the overall score down here. So we got 66 out of 140 total maximum points, which gives it the label of just high risk. Like we did write a summary here. I don't think we need it. With
It's
all
an
these,
average, it's an average score of 4.7.
yeah, so 46%. No, wait, 4.7. That become whatever. Either way,
47%.
yeah, yes. Okay, good.
It's fine.
I was sitting
We're
here for too
clever.
long.
We got brains.
Okay.
Honestly, we
Okay,
can
so-
do percentages.
So for everybody watching now, this will be like we will finish this report. We have this is just a score. We have up here. We have the research that we've done. I'm not going to show that now, but we're going to finish writing this out in like a text form, and we're going to save some pictures and links to websites and stuff like that. We'll save that and then we'll share it on our Discord, so that you can look at these numbers yourself. And since we're giving the links, you can look at it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, and you can see what the numbers are then. And I think in a year's time, we should try to come back to this and do this again and look what's changed.
It might even be worth it to revisit around the 108-day mark after their next airdrop. See what happens. See how it's compared.
Yeah, we can probably revisit it. If something interesting happens, then yeah, we could probably do another one of these videos. And I wanna also extend an invitation to the team of Blur. If you are wanting to come and talk to us about your project and kind of clear some of the questions that we have, please do. Just reach out. Our Discord is in the description below. Everything is there. And look, now that I'm talking to the team, we're not hating on your platform, right? This is an assessment of as an investment, right? And there are some stuff that we would like to see change for us to feel like we can
or clarified.
invest in this. Or clarified, yeah.
This is it. This is based entirely off what we've been able to sort of find that's publicly available, and not this. We're not super sleuths and on-chain detectives that have gone. Yes, we can only do what we can do. We can only see. We can look at what's publicly available, which is a reasonable amount in some areas, not enough in others, and make an assessment. And that's I feel like we've done a fairly fair job.
I think we've done a pretty decent job with that, yeah. But again, if the Blur team is watching this, or if someone who is very much invested in Blur right now and you're watching this after the live here and you're wondering about stuff, or if you want to help us clarify some stuff, join our Discord. Like, we're there and we're more than happy to talk to everybody and kind of hang out and do research together. It's just fun. Like, we like doing this stuff. That's why we're doing it, right? So before we finish this, we did get some questions asked by some of the members of the community. So we have O2 Lin is asking, is Blur disincentivizing projects from working on benefits for long-term holding, especially since people are flipping more for the future token drops instead of churning the floor? John, I think you probably is the best person to answer that, to be honest.
So in this situation, when we are kind of looking at Blur and what they're doing, in its current stasis, it does not look like there is a lot of help when it comes to long-term holding. So a lot of these end up looking more like who's trying to get a quick flip, who's trying to make their profit faster than everyone else, because the objective of Blur right now is bidding. Bidding gets you more points. More points gets you a larger airdrop. with how this is all currently going, I don't see a lot of projects where if they want to have long-term holders, this isn't going to be as helpful. This is probably going to be somewhat detrimental to long-term holding projects, because there's no overarching reason to hold the project if you can just bid across multiple things in order to get more points. But again, that's also representative of what's the project actually doing? Is the project itself actually ever going to, has it already built up the ideas of a long-term holding situation, or is it just trying to be a quick cash action project? And that's where you need to do more of a deeper dive on the projects themselves instead of necessarily Blur. Blur is just assisting people trade faster. That's their main goal. They want to trade as fast as possible to get the most information and also to get the most amount of money. That in and of itself kind of does disincentivize projects from needing to create long-term goals, because you can recycle members very quickly based off of this trading platform, especially if it's almost like, it almost seems like people that play random games on Xbox Game Pass just so they can raise their gamer score. That's kind of what it feels like. You now buy random small time NFTs just so you can trade them faster, so you can get a better score. That's what it feels like. It's almost like a gamified day trading.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like that's a pretty solid response to that. Thank you. I don't think I could have put it that way, because I just don't have that kind of insight into the whole NFT stuff. But thanks, John.
Yep.
So, John, everybody. Yeah. Great. So next one, we actually have just a few comments. We have a question as well. We have a comment here from Jay saying he loves all the data we're going through and giving good data. So thank you, Jay, for that. And
thank you, Jay.
It's a big heart. We'll see you in the Discord after this, I'm sure. I hope we'll see everybody who's watching now. I'm hoping to see you all in the Discord as well. And Jay also had a comment about when, John, you were talking about the team and all that. And he says, you speak the truth, but when it comes to doing business, you're more likely to trust someone who's forthcoming with the basic identity versus not. So this kind of, I guess he's agreeing with my statement. I think we're all agreeing both statements, though. It's like, it's just which one do we put more weight into, right? Like, so for me, I know, being risk averse, I want to know what the heck's going on, right? And then there are some people that don't really care about the team and so forth. But yeah, so sure. And I think Jane likes to talk, and we all know that. So he's actually said, ask a question here as well. So he's asking, are they actively working on expanding the platform? And I think, Jay, you must have missed when we were kind of laughing at their roadmap-ish, because they have a bunch of ideas, but the ideas are just nothing. As far as we can tell, I mean, maybe we missed a bunch of stuff somewhere. I'm sure they're working on stuff.
I have really looked for their roadmap.
I'm sure they were working on stuff.
So let's do a representation of their ideas.
Wait. Salted peanuts?
Yeah. It's spinning, though. It's a cylinder spinning and appearing back and forward on a screen.
So, welcome to Comedy Night, people. I'm joined today by Rob and John.
Honestly, though, that was some of their ideas. It was just like, we're going to take this picture and we're going to invert it. That means something.
Yeah.
By the way,
it's going to make you money.
I also have a candle.
Wow. Is it scented?
Hey, that's asking too much information.
Okay, let me just. I'm sure they are. On a serious note, I'm sure they're working on stuff. I can't see why they wouldn't, but they're not conveying what they're trying to do very well.
Their Discord is more informative, but again, that's taking extra steps to join their Discord. Their Twitter profile does give you somewhat regular updates. I'm not going to say they're actual updates versus just information. It's
like, hey,
somewhat kind of like their coin at times, useless. Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's a good response to that. So then we had the last thing here before we kind of I need to check the chat again, but so we have Olin again said apparently the top 3 wallets from the Blur airdrop had multiple interactions with each other, wash trading. We can't prove that it's wash trading maybe, but it doesn't look awesome.
I would say that you are hard pressed to call it anything else. When you look into the top wallets that are currently on Blur right now, you can call it something else,
Yes,
but we all know what it is.
Exactly, which is why I was kind of careful with. I don't want to wrongfully put a label on someone, in case it's not true.
That would be truly unfortunate if the data presented was false from the blockchain. I agree.
Well, maybe what I'm saying is maybe their intentions were not to do it, but they just happened because they had stuff that they wanted to trade between each other. But yes,
Yes,
Just
sometimes I
happened to.
really want to trade my pretty yellow picture with my friend for a
Yeah.
few days
Well, the
over
thing
and
is, we
over
don't
again.
know if they are friends, do
for
we?
multiple thousands of dollars. It's fine.
We don't know if they're friends, right?
Oh yeah, not friends. We just like trading the same picture for
Yeah.
lots of money.
Are you friends with everybody you trade a picture with?
Almost.
I've never
Okay.
I've never met Punk 6128 in my life.
What do you
Okay,
mean? Punk 1269? Never seen him.
Lynn says allegedly.
Allegedly.
So yeah, okay. So I'm going to say that we've gone through all the questions that we needed to go through for this, and I think we've been doing this one now for 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 25 seconds, which is I think a new record for our longer stuff. And if you guys enjoy us doing these project deep dives, if you have any suggestions of project that we should look into, again, get on the Discord, send us some messages, talk in the chat. We're going to see it, and we are going to try to get into and look at these projects. We were discussing, we haven't really decided, but we're thinking this could be a cool thing to do like once a week. Maybe we try to do it a bit shorter. It could be hard to do it each week at the current state of Crypto Talks because there's not a lot of people.
Once a week.
Eventually once a week. That's the goal.
Ramping
So if you
up
guys
to once a week.
if you guys did enjoy this stuff, because we certainly hope you do, because otherwise we've been sitting here for 2 hours talking about a project that we don't like for no reason.
We like
the
part of the product.
Sorry. We like the project as a product, but not as an investment. I think that's the conclusion. Actually, let's do that.
Yeah.
My conclusion. I want all three of us to say it, not at the same time. My conclusion. Let's do a choir thing. My conclusion, is with the score that it has, being human exclamation point, I will not touch this at all. Mainly, like I said, first thing I see, I look at the team very early. When I see a red flag like that, no, I just drop everything. I don't normally do all these different. I don't look into this if I see a red flag like that. With that said, my conclusion is I would not invest probably ever at this point. How about you guys?
I would trade it. I would absolutely trade it because
Knew it.
It has pump mentals. Would I lock it away and hold it for a long time? Not right now, and not anytime soon. It would have to either drop a whole lot, at 90% further down. Yeah, maybe I'm interested over a long period of time. If they started to release an absolute rock solid roadmap that show that they are going to decentralize into an absolutely beautiful open source product that completely removes all unfairness from the NFT marketing system and assesses all the wash trades and all of the manipulation, then absolutely, like all of a sudden 2.5 billion fully diluted market cap. It's like, holy shit, this could be worth hundreds of billions, because that's where thinking where the NFT market is going to go. Right. But right now, right here, for what it offers and what the token offers, not for me.
I think the only way that I would use Blur is to sell some of the NFTs that I currently have. And if I consequently got Blur, I would sell it as soon as I got it.
So you're saying, I think everybody's conclusion is no. Right now.
I would use the product, but not the token. Because I literally cannot use the token for anything whatsoever.
And we do have a comment from Jay. Jay has... Jay,
Yeah,
I'd scalp it.
I'd scalp it.
So this is funny because this whole Crypto Talks team, Jay is part of Crypto Talks as well. And he's like known as the scalper. I'm known as, well, me, the risk-averse, boring investor. John is the NFT guy, and Rob is the trader. The trades
the
anything.
The degenerate shitcoin peddler.
Well, so we have a very mixed bag of people that tend to agree on a lot of things.
And when we disagree, it's even funnier. Because it's usually for like the worst points.
But at least we listen to each other and take in all the information that the other person has, which is good. But okay, we're not trying to sell Crypto Talks here. So again,
Coin.
Everybody.
I'm sorry, that was good.
Yeah, Olin. Yeah. Okay, so everybody who's watching, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. Make sure to join the Discord, and hang out. We're on Discord all the time to talk, to learn, to educate. Just join it and see what's up. Yeah. And I'm hoping to see O2 Lin in there as soon as I leave this call. We're gonna get into Discord, and if O2 Lin is not there, I'm gonna
be there. I'm sure.
I'm going to be very sad in my face. Good. So we'll see you all in the lounge, in the Discord, and see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye, everybody.
You.
Peace.